Greetings, beloved brothers and sisters. On the path to learn your true nature, there's good news and bad news. The good news is that your true nature is nothing but love, that you've never made a mistake, and that you've never left the garden, the Father, the kingdom. The bad news is that on some level you still believe you're guilty. You still feel unforgiven and unforgiving of yourself for having the dream that you could be separate from God. And that's where the suffering comes from. When you're guilty, you need to be punished. At least that's what the ego will tell you. And when you find other guilty people, you hope that you can expiate your own guilt by seeing the guilt in them and making sure that they get punished. At first, the notion that you are free, that you are loved, and that you've never done anything wrong or sinned because you've never left your source is very comforting. Even the ego loves this story. But as you go deeper and deeper into connecting with your true self, you will become aware of all the places in your life where you've used this incredible power to miscreate. And for that, you will probably feel guilt. Once you feel that guilt, it's almost unbearable. And so there'll be an attempt to project it outward or to correct yourself mercilessly, to become perfect, to try to make up for what you've done. None of that is necessary, but there is something that is necessary. And that's a willingness to forgive yourself for what you've done to this body that you have. Because when you feel guilt, you disconnect the body from its source, at least in your experience. There are places in your body that have been hidden from you where you've choked the energy off because you didn't want to feel how bad it felt to be disconnected. The energy centers, the chakras shut down. And after a while, the body is actually neglected because you don't bring the loving consciousness to the body anymore. And the body shows evidence of that over time. So it's not enough to just have a concept that you're already perfect, that you've never left the Father. It's important that you let yourself feel the feelings that you have suppressed. Not to analyze them, not to make yourself further wrong, but to release them. It's not possible to change without awareness. It's not possible to forgive without knowing the places where you haven't yet. The one you need to forgive is yourself. Guilt plays such a huge part in the community of mankind that it is no wonder that very few people can remember past lives. You can imagine that if you could remember every time in past lives where you were a perpetrator, a slaver, a victim, a hater, a murderer, a person who took advantage of others, it would be overwhelming. It's hard enough in one lifetime to come to terms with all the places where you've been unloving to yourself and others. The only way to do this is with great love. And the understanding that all of the hurt that's inflicted on your brothers and sisters and yourself comes from an ignorance of the truth. When I said, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do, I really meant that. It turns out what they're doing is nothing. It's not even real. But they and you believe it is, and therefore bring it into being as a miscreation. There really is nothing to forgive, and there's a lot left to feel. Let yourself feel what you feel without doing a lot of analysis. And forgive yourself for what you didn't know when you didn't know it. Right now in society, because of the advances in media, it's possible to go back into a person's past and hold them accountable for what they did when they were 20 years old or 18 years old. With the rationale that they should have known what they know now back then. So if they did what they did back then, they're guilty now, and therefore worthy of our judgment and attack. But no one can know what they know until they know it. No one can learn their lessons until they learn them. Be grateful for anything that comes to your attention where you or anyone else has been unloving. Let yourself feel what that feels like, and then release it. With love, with understanding. In this way, you reclaim the kingdom. You allow the body to come back to life, to be an open receptacle to no longer be closed off, to be used for a joyous purpose, to extend love and forgiveness and understanding to everyone and everything, especially yourself. One of the hardest things ever is to be gentle with yourself, to let yourself feel what you feel, and then release yourself from the judgment that you shouldn't feel that. Give all of these feelings back to the light. Be kind to yourself, no matter what you discover. Let the dream be healed, so that more and more of you can access your true purpose and fulfill your mission as the extension of love on the earth. I am thrilled with your progress. I love you very much, and I'll speak with you again soon.